Hello, this is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. This video is a continuation of the videos I've been putting out that accurately represent what's actually going on in the case, not some crazy fantasy land that we seem to be seeing quite often now in this case. Today's video will show the escape route that Bryan Kohberger used to get back to Pullman, Washington by heading south out of Moscow, Idaho. Bryan Kohberger had just killed Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Madison Mogen, and Kaylee Gonzalez at 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho, and this took place on November 13th, 2022, between 4:09 and 4:17 a.m. So before we get started here, if you could please hit the like button, it would really help out my channel, and subscribe if you like this type of content. I think I try to put out content that is real and accurate. I think that should be valued a little bit more in this community, since this is true crime. It's not a joke. So this location right here is a very good location for Bryan Kohberger to look into Madison Mogen's bedroom. The plywood on the right is her bedroom, Madison Mogen, and on the left you see right there, that's the plywood that's covering the window of the stairways that came up. To the left of that, but out of view, would be Kaylee Gonzalez's bedroom, but we can't see it. There's a deck right there as well. So let's get started on the video, and in your mind, picture this being dark outside, and Bryan Kohberger exits the sliding glass door that's down at the very bottom of this hill right there on the left-hand side, and he's exiting the house, and he comes running up to his car, and he likely took off the bloody clothing he had and placed it into a plastic bag, and that also put the knife in that. And this part here is speculation, but I'm trying to think of what would a killer do to mitigate putting blood in his own vehicle. So put it in a plastic bag, and then maybe that goes into another plastic bag, and he does this all in a minute or so. So he probably exited the house at around 4:17 or 18, and then he's pulling away at approximately 4:19 and 30 seconds, because at 4:20 he's seen speeding away at a high rate of speed on the 1112 King Road camera. All right, so let's get playing that right now. So just at the upper right-hand corner, that's the time of the morning at 4:20 a.m. He'll be seen driving away at a high rate of speed. Right now it's 4:19, but as he's pulling away, obviously he's driving a lot quicker than I would, or I am, because I wouldn't want to be speeding around when there's people walking around. Now, maybe if I was 4 in the morning and I knew nobody's around, I might go a little bit quicker, but this is just for an example here. And right about now, 4:20, the camera right up there at 1112 King Road would have filmed him speeding away and turning right really quickly right here. And this is King Road. We were just driving on Queen Road, took a right on King, and now we're turning left, and we'll be right on Willanta Drive. And if you remember, the probable cause document said that each time he did his loops, and when he left on Willanta Drive. So for 4 loops, and I guess this is part of the 4th, is he's leaving on the 4th loop up on Willanta Drive. And I mean, I guess this would have started his 5th loop if that was the reality. So this is him leaving now. So the first 4 times he looped around. Doesn't take this right here. Now in the first loop example that I showed you guys the other day, I had him turning right here. And it very well could be this is the way he went, because when he leaves, he goes this way, and maybe that would have been a good way to remember it. He just knew that on each of his loops, he'd turn left, right there, the very first left that we just passed. So going this direction, he would turn right on Conestoga Drive. Now, one of the things that's interesting is that Google Maps isn't very accurate when it gives you time frames. For example, it said from their house to Conestoga and Palouse River Drive, it takes 5 minutes. But I'm not driving incredibly fast here, and I got there at 4:23 and some odd seconds. And it was just reasonable speed. I wasn't speeding. You can see right here, I'm just driving at a normal rate. All right, now on the map, currently we have just driven down like this, turn, and we're driving this direction, and we'll be coming around, and we'll be running into Palouse River Drive right there. And we're just going down that last straightaway now. It actually does turn a little bit more at the end, but not much. And there it is. So that brings us to Palouse River Drive. And you look at the clock there, it's 4:23 and 4 seconds. I mean, that only took me 3 minutes. So I don't know if they're putting the exact, like, in that neighborhood, you got to drive 15 miles an hour, and therefore it would have taken 5 minutes. But I think I was driving at a reasonable speed. And here you can see the speed limit's 35 miles an hour. And I'm sure I'm probably going 40, 35, 40, something like that. And then in a moment here, we'll be turning onto Highway 95. But look at the route that he took back. There's absolutely no reason for Bryan Kohberger to go this way other than, I believe, he is discarding the bloody knife and perhaps even the bloody clothing. And I think this because there are 13 to 15 minutes of missing time on this route here. And you'll be able to see exactly what I'm talking about. And right here we'll be turning right on Highway 95. Now while we're driving here, I have certain points in time where I'm going to show you on the map where we're at, just to prove that I'm accurately showing the actual route and where we're at. Okay, and then see those 3 silos right there? Those silos are right here. So this is, on my video, it's 5:22, the 5:22 mark of the video that I'm playing. It has nothing to do with time or anything like that. It's just my video time, 5:22. So there are the 3 silos, all right? Now let me show you one other thing here. The probable cause document had this as their drawing on there. The guy, it wasn't meant to be 100% accurate where they followed roads, but the roads that I have in green here are the only roads that fit relatively close to what they drew. I mean, you can see that they tried to do it. I mean, look how close that is right there. But there's places like this, maybe they had this and they just kind of went like that. They just drew it on there. All right, and then right here I have that, and then everything else kind of falls right up into that, into there. And you can see when I turn on and off, even the map in the background similar, just barely shifts at all. So the roads that I have chosen are the ones that match what they have in the probable cause document. Just so you know that I'm even basing what I'm showing you on what's in the probable cause document. And they got that information from phone pings and camera footage. So let's go back to this and get moving again. So now it's just 4:24 in the morning. So the next time we stop here is going to be at the 7:05 mark of my video here. And right now we're at almost 6 minutes into this. And the length of my video is 16 minutes and 36 seconds, which is the entire time it takes to get where, well, I'll show you at the end, but it only takes 16 minutes to drive pretty far away where you're actually past the Blaine, Idaho cell towers, etc. All right, so right now, 6:22, another 30 seconds or so, and I'll again prove to you where we're at on the map. Yeah, but there's definitely some missing time here. Because look at the speed I'm driving here. I'm not even going fast, you guys. If there was cars that blew right by me. If I was driving fast, I would have got, look at right there. If I was driving fast, I would have even got to where we'll have this final time that I show you quicker. I mean, that's what's incredible about this. Look at that car up there. He's way ahead of me now. And I'm probably driving the speed limit and pissing people off right now behind me. Okay. All right, so I just went past. Let me go to 7:05. It's right there. I'll go back just a little bit more so you can see it. See this red building and another red building right there? That is right there. So I'm driving by. It says 7:05 right there, and we're just going to keep on heading down. So far, we've gone past the 3 silos. We're turning right. We went right there. The next stop will be at 7:55. Not too long from now. Just proving and showing you with the actual time in the upper right-hand corner. That's what time it would have been for Kohberger when he's driving. You know, he was probably driving my pace, right? I mean, you know, he didn't want to be driving too fast where somebody would notice him. A police officer would say, oh man, that guy's speeding. Because then he gets pulled over. I mean, it's hard to say because that guy's been pulled over more times than almost anybody I've ever heard of in a short amount of time. It's unbelievable. All right, so we're almost at the next check-in spot, which I think is, let me go, 3, 4, 55. Okay, I think that's where I meant to be. So looking at that, we go down to Street View. And there's the building right there, and there it is. See, just right there on the left, that building with the trees, and that's exactly what we see here. A little different angle, though. The video, I'm back further, and this one I'm up closer, so if I kept going back, those trees would move further to the left. See that? I'll just keep going, and I need to go a little bit more, probably even, I mean, look, that's even behind that tree, this tree. So, I mean, I have to keep going to get to where I stop. So it's up here a little bit further, right? Yeah, that's getting pretty close. So in a moment here, those trees, there you go, about right there. See how those trees fade over there? Just to prove it to you guys. I mean, I like to prove exactly what I'm doing, and that way there's no questions later. Well, how do you know, Gray, that you were, you know, that's how it works. So 7:55, the next one will be at 9:11, the next check-in spot. And again, look at the clock up there. Now, if we remember, in the probable cause document, it says that he pinged near Blaine, Idaho at 4:48. It says it right there in the probable cause document. You can look it up. But look what time it is right now, 4:27. And the next one will be 9:11 here, so we're at 8:21 coming up. This one might be where there was just this lone tree. $37. And we're coming around this turn here, and Just got another 20 seconds or so for the next check-in spot. And here it is right there. So we'll go to the air. There's that tree. Turn around. Go to the street view here. And amazingly, this tree looks absolutely identical down to the... I mean, look at that. Is that crazy or what? I mean, it's almost like... I mean, it was almost taken the same day, it feels like. Unbelievable. This was taken in July of this year, so... I was there just 2 months later, so I guess that explains it. So we're back to right in this location. Now look where Blaine, Idaho is, you guys. Blaine, Idaho's right there. I'm already right here, and look what time it is. It's 4:28. The next stop, it'll be 11:16, and we'll be right in the heart of the Blaine, Idaho ping location. And you can see on the mountain over there, there's a cell tower. That's the cell tower that is right on the side of the road from Blaine. You can see it right up here. No, sorry about that. Right up in this area. So it's 4:29 right now and 18 seconds. We're at 9:53, going to 11:16. It's actually very pretty out here when you're driving around. Really peaceful feeling. It's not like when you go to Delphi, it's really ominous when you're walking around, even though it's pretty. This route here isn't related to the crime. I guess he drove out here though, so, but it never had that ominous feeling that you get when you're driving in around in Delphi or just walking around. So what time do we got here? 10:42. We're almost there to the next check-in spot at 11:16. And look what time it is, 4:30. Remember, it pinged by Blaine at 4:48. Or 9, 10, 11, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. All right, so right here is where we're stopped. And on Google Earth, that is right here on the highway. Go to Street View. And I think it looks exactly the same again. See, there's the trees on the right. Telephone poles all line up, everything. So, again, just proving where we're at. So there's no questions about it. I got to do that with all the money that we've donated to true crime related charities. My channel has donated over $170,000 since January of 2020 to various true crime related charities. And I have to prove every single nickel on the screen every single month because of the trolls that are out there. We actually have a DNA fund that we've put over $70,000 in. And we now have a scholarship fund that will be fully funded for this year of $6,000, $3,000 to 2 kids, coming up soon. So if you're out there and you want to help support my channel, become a channel member. Or, I mean, there's various other ways to help support the channel. But on this video, if you could hit that like button, I would really appreciate it. All right, so the next stop is going to be at 12:46 on my clock, but check it out. Look where we're at already at the 11:16 mark. That's the Blaine Tower right there, because Blaine is right there, and there's a cell tower right there. He's already passed it, and look what time it is, 4:30. it pinged at 4:48 off that tower. So we're going to keep going here. We're going to go to the 12:46 mark. I think it pinged on the southern edge at 4:48. I think that's when he finally turned his phone back on again. Now, let me point out something. We'll just pause it right here, but we are going to get to the... Well, let's get to the 12:46 mark first, and then I'll pause it. Of course, if I wait to 12:46, I'll probably forget what I was going to say. So we'll just pause it right here. Let me go up in the air. And if you go over here, I have all these times mapped out over here, but at 2:47 a.m., Kohberger's phone was in southern Pullman, Washington, and then it was turned off or put into airplane mode, something that, a mode that it wouldn't contact towers. All right, so that was 2:47. Now, people will go, oh, okay, well, yeah, maybe he just went to sleep at that time, and he was driving around and he went to sleep. Yeah, but see, that's all invalidated that he went to sleep, because his phone was off during the entire time of the murders. And then when he felt safe, he turned his phone back on, driving down Highway 95 near Blaine, Idaho. His phone started pinging around here, and it was 4:48, 28 minutes after he was seen speeding away at a high rate of speed from the murder scene. When I say he, is White Elantra, the suspect vehicle that, number one, that he was in. So that's 11:16, you guys, right there. So 4:48. The 11:16 is what is on my camera. Forget those numbers. They don't mean anything to you guys. My video, 11:16. So just think about that for a minute. His phone was off from 2:47 until 4:48. He turned it back on, and he's way over here heading south out of Moscow, Idaho. And that's when his phone is now traveling. Now you might say, well, how does that connect it to the Elantra? Well, I guess we'll see that here in a minute. All right, so the next stop on my camera time will be 12:46. So that just means we're 12 minutes and 46 seconds into the actual driving time of the video. And I think this location is likely about where he turned his phone back on. But somewhere, anywhere after he left off of Palouse River Drive and Conestoga, I think he hid the bloody knife and the bloody clothing, because there's 13 minutes of missing time. All right, so we're almost at the next check-in spot. It's at 12:46. We're at 12:38 right now. 40, 41, 42, 44, 45, 46. Okay, so we're at this little intersection right here. And that is right there. Okay, now I think that this is where he turned his phone back on, because if he averaged 45 miles an hour back home, Google Maps has it at 40 miles an hour home, all the way home from here back up into this area, because you're driving through these crazy, these are paved roads, but they're kind of narrow and so forth. But I think they have you driving at like 15 or 20 miles an hour through there, and then the average speed is 40. But if you go at an average speed of 45 miles an hour, which is totally reasonable, he would be right here when his phone pinged at 4:48, and there's the Blaine, Idaho tower, and here's Blaine, Idaho. As we know, the cell towers continue to track his phone, and we have a cell tower right there. We even have one down in this area. We have two by Uniontown and one by this town called Colton here. Now, my guess was at one point he put his knife and clothing around in this area, but that doesn't make any sense now. It has to be up in this area over here. Now, let me turn on some of these cell tower circles that I put together. Now these are the cell towers that he would enter the range of. So this is the cell tower near Blaine, Idaho. This is the one, kind of near Genesee, I guess, but it's just right here on the side of the road. And then after he's traveling this direction, this tower would pick him up. And then up here, there's a couple of them on Bald Butte and the one near Johnson, Idaho. And then he would make his way back up in that direction. But right now we are right here. So let's get going. The next stop is at 1427 on my video. So that's where I believe he turned on his phone again. And it could be that he turned it on a little bit prior to that too, if he's driving faster. So if you average 50 miles an hour back, you would have to move it back up even further up into that circle near Blaine. But somewhere in there is where he turned it on, and somewhere prior to that is likely where he was putting the knife and bloody clothing. And we're heading to the 1427 check-in time. We're at 1332 now on the video. This is the actual time of driving all the way from 1122 King Road to right here. It's only been 13 minutes and 43 seconds. And look what time it is right there. And we're at 14, and we're just going to go to 1427, around the corner. It's almost mesmerizing looking at the landscape here. All right, right here is 1427. And we go up in the air, and that one is right here. And you can see these houses on the right there on the right. I guess if I go down the street view, it'd probably look exactly the same. Yep, there you go. There's the house on the right there, see? There we go. Okay, now let's continue on, and the next stop will be near the cell tower in this location. So likely his phone was picked up on this tower as well. And that'll be at 1531 on my time. All right, we're currently at 1448. Let's look at the time up there, 434. And just think about it. Another 14 minutes from now, or 13 and a half minutes, that's when it pinged in Blaine. But we're way past Blaine at this point. And we've been driving at a normal pace. All right, got another 8 seconds here to 1531. Right there. Okay, and let's go to the map here. 1531 is right there, and from street view, you'll be able to see the tower just right off to the side there. There it is. There's another tower right there that likely picked up Bryan Kohberger's vehicle. Okay. And let's get back here. The next stop is when it turns off and then there's no more street view. And I kind of just kept driving a little bit down to here, but I don't have any more recording. But it's right when it turns. So let's get that video playing again. And we're going to be going to 1627, so another minute from here. Again, look at the time, 4:35. It isn't until another 13 minutes that it pings near Blaine, and we're long, long past that now. Okay, we're at 15:59, 16 minutes, got 27 more seconds, and then Kohberger's car turns off the main highway here. And I think that's why he had his phone turned on, because he knew where he was going to go, but it's kind of hard to find because there's these little roads that just pull off to the side. It's 1627 coming up here, 25, 26, 27, boom. That's where he turned to the right. All right, and at that point, he turned right here, drove down Borgen Road, and these just absolute back roads here, but they seem to be paved. And then right in this area, I think there's a little bit of street view that we can see from right here. This is what it looks like in this area. That road looks like it might be actually gravelly, that one. So maybe part of the road that he drove on was gravel. But anyways, this is what it looks like out here. This one's paved. And you would be driving out in the middle of nowhere. And this is a spot where you think he might be throwing items away at, but the missing time is prior to this. Right, so he travels across right there. I originally thought maybe through the knife and clothing in that area, but I think it's more likely up inside of this circle somewhere around there, maybe even over here. Wherever you could go in maybe like 5 minutes, spend 3 or 4 minutes burying it, and then get back out of there. So right here he's coming across. His phone is pinging off of this tower again. He pinged here, off this one, then this tower, then likely pinged off of this one. So he heads up this direction. And the timing, if you drove 45 miles an hour from where I have it right here, where is that part? Yeah, right there, 4:48. If he drove 45 miles an hour from right there, he would end up in this location. I think I have him right here at 5:25 a.m., Johnson Avenue. His white Elantra is seen driving in this direction, just like this. A camera on this building shows that vehicle, and then it drives up this direction. The same suspect vehicle that was in Moscow, Idaho. It's driving this direction, pulls out here, drives into town, and guess what, everybody? He turned his phone back on again at 5:30. It started pinging again in the town. So he must have turned it off on the home stretch, perhaps. Maybe when he was driving around in this area. Either way, it might just have been on, but there's no cell towers out in this area, and then it pinged again at 5:30 in here. So his cell phone was off between 2:47 and he turned it back on at 4:48 south of Moscow, Idaho, right in this area, right there. And then it pings again, coming back into Pullman, Washington. And the white Elantra, suspect vehicle 1, followed it along the whole way. Man, isn't that a miracle? His phone must have been on a bird that was hovering over the top of a white Elantra from the real killer, but the bird just loved the car so much it flew above it and carried the phone of Bryan Kohberger. Wow, God, he's unlucky. He is one of the most unlucky people I've ever seen. Anyways, I hope this all made sense to you. There are 13 or 14 minutes of missing time in this area. We got here, I believe, it was 4:32, and it should have been 4:48 if there wasn't missing time. But, I mean, 4:32 is the time it should have been that his phone pinged off of the Blaine Tower. But it wasn't. It was 4:48. And that means there are, I would say 13 to 16 minutes of missing time in this area right inside of here. Now, it could even extend up into here. I mean, he could have driven down there for a moment and came over here, but it's somewhere after he came out here. People might argue that he went over in a neighborhood over here and spent some time, but that just seems crazy to me. So it's after he came here and turned right or somewhere around in this area to here. That's where I believe the bloody knife and bloody clothing was at least originally put. Okay, so I hope this all made sense to you guys. It's just a continuation in the series of videos that I've been making, and I'm basing it on the probable cause document and putting it all together in a way that I think is way more understandable by people looking at it. You can leave a comment in the comment section and let me know what you think. Where do you think he put the bloody clothing and knife? I mean, go out and get a map and look at it and see where you think he may have done that, because I can't explain why there's a 13-minute missing time, 13 to 16 minutes, if that isn't what he was doing there. He doesn't seem like he'd want to be driving a long ways with bloody clothing in a bag or a knife in a bag. He seems like he'd want to ditch that as quick as possible and look relatively unscathed in his vehicle. So hit that like button, everybody, and make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed already, and consider becoming a channel member. It would really help my channel out quite a bit and help the charity work that we do at the end of the month. I give away a lot of the money that I earn on YouTube. All right? So thank you very much for watching, everybody. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there.